Over the years, Nintendo has gone on to make many different kinds of series. Some have gone on to live long and healthy lives as mainstays of the company, while others have been less fortunate, and for one reason or another have found themselves dormant, living as only memories of great times of years past. Of these classic franchises, these are the 4 I would love to see make a return on a Nintendo console. First off, FZero. At this point, more people probably know Captain Falcon as a Smash Bros. Fighter than as an actual race car driver. We haven't seen a new installment in the series since 2003, and as we're approaching 2 decades, there seems to be no upcoming projects on the horizon. The games weren't flops, but they weren't exactly flying off the shelves either, and Nintendo has since stated that they're not sure how to bring something new and innovative to the franchise, since GX seemed like the apex of F-Zero's capabilities. Well, even if that's true, a lot of people can't play GameCube games since you basically have to sell a kidney in order to afford them. And apparently, better graphics and online play means nothing to Nintendo, since those are both things that a new F-Zero title could benefit from. Regardless of what Nintendo says, this is a franchise that I firmly believe Nintendo should bring back, as it's such a unique and exhilarating experience. Play F-Zero GX for several hours, and before you know it, every other racing game will seem incredibly slow in comparison. To be honest, it was so fast that it kind of ruined other racing games for me, which wouldn't be such a bad thing if they were still developing new F-Zero games. The controls are tight, the gameplay is beautiful, and the competition gives an adrenaline rush that very few games can match. Here's to hoping that Nintendo comes to their senses and makes this series relevant once again. Second up is Diddy Kong Racing. Now I understand F-Zero is a tough act to follow when it comes to racing games, but Diddy Kong Racing is a completely different experience, one that's similar to Mario Kart in the sense that it's fun, colorful, and chaotic for a group of friends to enjoy together. Mario Kart 64 was certainly the more popular game of the two, but Diddy Kong Racing was still incredibly popular on the Nintendo 64. Just how popular? Well, believe it or not, it actually sold more copies than all-time great classics like Star Fox 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. For some reason, despite its fantastic gameplay and its wildly popular track record, the only other racing game in the series was a remake for the Nintendo DS in 2007. I understand that Microsoft purchasing Rare Studios in 2002 may have had something to do with the series making an abrupt halt, but with such a popular IP, some other studio under Nintendo's umbrella has got to be willing to take up the torch, right? Third is Mario Strikers, which is the football or soccer, depending on where you're from, version of the Mario sports games. Super Mario Strikers was the series' introduction in 2005, and Mario Strikers Charged was the last game of the series, which was featured on the Nintendo Wii in 2007. They were additions to the Mario Sports collection that still had the zany style of gameplay, but this one could also get pretty competitive and intense at times, which is a change of pace that I certainly appreciate. There's several reasons why these games should make a comeback. For one, it just makes sense as the Mario sports games have been steadily increasing in popularity throughout the years. And now, with the help of Nintendo Directs, the games are only getting more exposure, and the hype train starts at the moment of the announcement. The recent Mario Golf Super Rush game is a good example of that, as it was difficult for many of us to get a copy as the game was selling out at just about every retail store. Beyond the popularity of the sports games is more specifically the popularity of the Strikers games, as Mario Strikers Charged on the Wii was the second highest selling Mario sports game of all time. I have little doubt that if they ever released another one that it wouldn't perform even better. Lastly is the Kid Icarus series. There hasn't been many games within the series, but it has incredibly strong potential to say the least. You're probably familiar with characters like Pit, Dark Pit, and Palutena from the Smash Bros. Games, but they're actually originally from the Kid Icarus series. The first game was on the NES in 1986, which had a similar platforming and exploration style to the Metroid game, which makes sense considering how it shared much of the same development team. It didn't sell very well, but it was praised among critics. The second game was Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters on the Game Boy in 1991, and the series wasn't seen again until 2012, as Kid Icarus Uprising was released on the Nintendo 3DS. This one especially was an underrated game with an intriguing story and a remarkable soundtrack that left many fans begging for more. It was a complete transformation from its predecessors, but in a good way. And with a lore as vast and deep as Greek mythology, it's kind of puzzling as to why Nintendo hasn't continued the series, especially when you consider how the most recent game sold pretty well both in Japan and America. Hopefully, Nintendo brings this franchise back to life, and if they do, it will certainly be a day one purchase for me. So now it's your turn. Are there any franchises that you would like to see Nintendo bring back? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more Nintendo content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.